a set of instructions that say to solve by completing the square. So if you are interested, I want to show you how to do that. I will not make you do it, so this is why you can completely stop the video at this point. But if you are interested in knowing how to complete the square, I'm going to go ahead and show you it this time. Here's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to take the first two, and I'm going to draw a blank, and I'm going to bring the third. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take half of b, which remember, ax squared plus bx plus c. I'm going to take half of b and square it. All right, well, half of 8 is 4, and 4 squared is 16. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 16 right there. Now, you can't just randomly add stuff to an equation, correct? So, in order to offset it, since I added 16 here, I'm going to subtract 16 at the end. Why can I do that? Because 16 minus 16 is 0, which means there's technically nothing there. But the reason I do it is because this factors really nicely. This factors into x plus 4 times x plus 4, or x plus 4 squared. So again, this part right here alone factors. And then I need to bring down what combines here. A positive 3 minus 16 is a minus 13. And did we get the same thing as before? Yes. X squared plus ax plus 3 gave us x plus 4 squared minus 13. So you may say, wow, that may have been a lot easier. Why don't I always do that? So I'm going to show you where completing the square can get a little tricky. Again, in order to figure out what this number is, you had to take half of b and you had to square it. Well, here's the problem in this case. You have to contend with the fact that there's a 2 out front. So here's what you have to do. You first have to pull a 2 out. But again, we're only pulling it out of the first 2 parts. And how did I get 3? Because 2 times 3 gave me 6. And now I got to do what it says. I have to take half of b and square it. Well, half of 3 is 1.5, and 1.5 squared is 2.25. So this is where I would say, okay, that is 2.25. But you don't subtract 2.25 like you did here, like you added 16 so I had to subtract, because that 2.25 is actually inside of a parentheses, which means you actually have to multiply it by 2 first. So 2.25 times 2 gives me 4.5, which means since I technically added 4.5, I got to subtract 4.5. And then you do what we talked about, the fact that this becomes x plus 1.5 times x plus 1.5, which becomes x plus 1.5 squared. This becomes a minus 5.5, and then the number 2 in front must come down and become a 2. Again, it does work, but certain times it might take longer or be a little bit harder or a little weirder in order to get to your vertex form than before. Because another thing you have to think about is that if this is a minus, it becomes a minus here, but it always turns into a plus, because when you take half of b, even if it's negative, the moment you square a negative, it does turn positive, so you do have to be careful about that as well.